Everybody, this is Allison from Allykatkreations. How are you? I just got done celebrating my birthday. I ate my cookie. I caught up on thanking everybody for wishing me that. So, lots and lots of goodies. Dante, Alighieri. What awesome reading on the resurrection. I want to wish everybody a happy Passover and Easter who celebrate. I just don't celebrate anything. Even my birthday, I took some time to ponder how I'm going to get through the next couple of weeks, what my options are, what I'm going to do, and hope for the best. It is the Phoenix Rising rebirth. There's a lot going on. But I got to have a little bit of a break, clear my mind. But then this stuff has to come out because I need to get all these in just in case. Before I start, if you haven't done so already, please like, helps me out. Free. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. And share. Spread the word. Spread the love and light. Canto 5. Thus I descended out of the first circle, down to the second, that less space be grids, and so much greater dole, that goads to wailing. There standeth Minos, horribly, and snarls, examines the transgressions at the entrance, judges and sends according as he girds him. I say that when the spirit evil born cometh before him, holy it confesses, and this discriminator of transgressions seeth what place in hell is meet for it, girds himself with his tail as many times as grades he wishes it should be thrust down. Always before him many of them stand. They go by turns, each one unto the judgment. They speak and hear, and then are downward hurled. O thou that is this dolorous hostelry, comest, said Minos to me, when he saw me, leaving the practice of so great an office. Look how thou enterest, and in whom thou trustest. Let's not the portal's amplitude deceive thee. And unto him my guide, why criest thou too? Do not impede his journey, fate ordained. It is so willed. There were, sorry guys, FYI, I am dyslexic. And sometimes it catches me off guard. So I do apologize. It is so willed, there where is power to do that which is willed, and ask no further question. And now begin the dulcet notes to grow. My co-host Morgan, Miss I just turned 17, says hi. Audible unto me, now am I come. There were much lamentation strikes upon me. I came into a place mute of all light, which bellows as the sea does in its tempest, if by opposing wind 'tis combated. The infernal hurricane that never rests. Hurtles the spirit onward in its rapine, whirling them around and smiting it molests them. When they arrive before the precipice, there are the shrieks, the plaints, the laments. There they blasphemy, the puissance divine. I understood that unto such a torment, the carnal malefactors were condemned, who reason subjugate to appetite, and as the wings of starlings bear them on, in the cold season in large band and full, so doth that blast the spirits maledict. It hither, thither, downward, upward, drives them. No hope doth comfort them forevermore. Not of repose, but even of lesser pain. And as the cranes go chanting forth their lays, making in air a long line of themselves, so saw I coming uttering lamentations, shadows borne outward by the aforesaid stress. Whereupon said I, Master, who are those people whom the black air so cascades? The first of those of whom intelligence thou fain wouldest have. Then said he unto me, the empress was of many languages. To sensual vices she was so abandoned, that lustful she made licit in her law, to remove the blame to which she had been led. She is Semiramis, of whom we read, that she succeeded Nimbus and was his spouse. She held the land which now the Sultan rules. The next is she who killed herself for love, and broke faith with the ashes of Silcius, then Cleopatra the vulturous. Helen I saw, for whom so many ruthless seasons revolved, and saw the great Achilles, whom at the last hour combated with love. Paris, I saw Tristan, and more than 1,000 shades did he name and point out with his finger, whom love had separated from life. After that, I had listened to my teacher, naming the dames of eld and cavaliers. Pity prevailed, and I was nigh bewildered, and I began, O poet, willingly, speak would I to those two, who together and seem upon the wind to be so light, and he to me thought, mark, when they shall be nearer to us, and then do thou implore them by love which leadeth them, and they will come. Soon as the wind in our direction sways them, my voice uplift I, O ye weary souls, come speak to us if no one interdects. As turtle doves, culled onward by desire, with open and steady wings to the sweetest nest, fly through the air by the volition born. So come they from the band where Ditto is, approaching us athwart the air malign. So strong was the affectionate appeal. A living creature gracious and benignant, who visiting goest through the purple air, us who have stained the world in cardine. If for the King of the universe our friend, we would pray unto him to give thee peace, since thou hast pity on our woe perverse. Of what it pleases thee to hear and speak, that will we hear, and we will speak to you. While silence is the wind, as it is now, sitteth the city wherein I was born, upon the seashore where the Po descends, to rest in peace with all his retinue. Love, that on gentle hurt doth swiftly seize this man for the personal beauty that was taken from me, and still the mode offends me. Love that exempts no one beloved from loving, sees me with pleasure of this man so strongly, that, as thou seest, it doth not yet desert me. Love has conducted us unto one death. Cana waiteth him who quenched our life. These words were borne along from them to us. As soon as I had heard those souls tormented, I bowed my face and so long held it down, until the poet said to me, "What thinkest?" When I made answer, I began, alas, how many pleasant thoughts, how much desires, conducted these unto the dolorous pass. Then unto them I turned me, and I spake, and I began, thine agonies, Francesca, sad and compassionate to weeping make me. But tell me, at the time of those sweet sighs, by what and in what manner love conceded, that you should know your dubious desires. And she said to me, there is no greater sorrow than to be mindful of the happy time in misery, and that thy teacher knows. But if to recognize the earliest root of love in us thou hast so great desire, I will do even as he who weeps and speaks. One day we, reading, were for our delight of Lancelot, how love did him enthrall. Alone we were, and without any fear. Full many a time our eyes together drew, that reading and drove the color from our faces. But one point only was it that overcame us. When, as we read of much longed for smile, being by such a noble lover kissed, this man, who never from me shall be divided, kissed me upon the mouth, all palpitating. Galato was the book, and he who wrote it. That day no further did we read therein. And all the while one spirit uttered this. The other one did weep so, that for pity I swoon away as if I had been dying, and fell even as a dead body falls. The storm is incoming. Canto 6. At the return of consciousness that closed before the pity of those two relations, which utterly with sadness had confused me, new torments I behold, and new tormented around me, whichsoever way I move, and whichsoever may I turn and gaze. In the third circle am I of the rain, eternal, maledict, and cold and heavy. Its law and quality are never new. Huge hail, water sombre hued, and snow. Athwart the tempestuous air poured down amain. Noisome the earth is that receiveth this. Cerberus, monster, cruel, and uncouth, with his three gullets like a dog is barking over the people that are there submerged. Red eyes he has, uncanthus, beard and black, and belly large, and armed with claws his hands. He renders the spirits, frays, and quarters them. How the rain maketh them like unto dogs. One side they make a shelter for the other. Often turn themselves the wretched reprobates. When Cerberus perceived us, the great worm, his mouths he opened and displayed his tusks. Not a limb had he that was motionless. And my conductor, with his spans extended, took of the earth, and with his fists were filled. He threw it into those rapturous gullets, such as the dog is, who by barking craves, and quiet grows soon as his food he gnaws. For to devour it he but thinks and struggles. The like became those muzzles filth begrimed of Cerberus, the demon, who so thunders over the souls that they would fain be deaf. We passed across the shadows, which subdues the heavy rainstorm, and we placed our feet upon the vanity that people seems. They all were lying prone upon the earth, excepting one, who sat upright as soon as he beheld us passing on before him. Thou art, O thou that art conducted through this hell, he said to me, recall me if thou canst. Thyself wasn't made before I was unmade, and I to him the anguish which thou hast perhaps doth draw thee out of the remembrance, so that it seems not have I ever seen thee. But tell me who thou art that is so doleful, a place art put, and in such punishment. If some are greater, none is so displeasing. And he to me, thy city, which is full of envy, so that now the sack runs over, held me within it in the life serene. You citizens were wont to call me Psychico for the pernicious sin of gluttony. Ciexio, maybe. I, as thou seest, am battered by this rain, and I, sad soul, am not the only one. For all these suffer that like plenty, for the like sin, and word no more spake he. I answered him, Ciaco, thy wretchedness weighs on me so that it to weep invites me. But tell me if thou knowest to what shall come the citizens of the divided city. If any there be just, and the occasion, tell me, why so much discord? He assailed it, and he to me, thy, after long contention, will come to bloodshed, and the rustic party will drive the other out with much offense. Then afterward behooves it thus one fall, within 3 suns, and rise again the other, by force of him who now is on the coast. High will it hold its forehead a long while, keeping the other under heavy burdens. However, it weeps thereat and is indignant. The just are two and are not understood there. Envy and arrogance and avarice are the 3 sparks that have all hearts enkindled. Here ended he his tearful utterance, and I to him, I wish thee still to teach me, and make a gift to me of further speech. For in Tida and Tiahalio, once so worthy, Jacopo Rusticucci Cusiki, Arrigio, and Mosca. I wish I spoke Italian. So I do apologize. I am butchering names. I butcher everything. But that's okay. My intentions are good. And others who are on good deeds set their thoughts. Say where they are, and cause that I may know them. For great desire constraineth me to learn, if heaven doth sweeten them, or hell envenom. And they are among the blacker souls. A different sin downweighs them to the bottom. If thou so far descendest, thou canst see them. But when thou art again in the sweet world, I pray thee to mind of others bring me. No more I tell thee, and no more I answer. Then his straightforward eyes had turned askance, eyed me a little, and then bowed his head. He fell thereupon prone, like the other blind, and the guide said to me, he wakes no more. This side the sound of the angelic trumpet, when shall approach the hostile potentates. Each one shall find again his dismal tomb, shall resume his flesh and his own figure, shall hear what through eternity re-echoes. So we pass onward over the filthy mixture of shadows of rain with footsteps slow, touching a little on the future life. Wherefore I said, Master, these torments here, will they increase after the mighty sentence, or lesser be, or will they be as burning? And he to me, return unto thy science, which wills that as the thing more perfect is, the more it feels of pleasure and of pain, albeit that these people maledict, to true perfection never can attain. Hereafter more than now they look to be. Round in a circle by the road we went, speaking much more, which I do not repeat. We came unto the point where the descent is. There we found Polotus, the great enemy. Canto 7. Pepe. Say 10. Pepe. Say 10. Aleppi. Thus Plutos, with his clucking voice, began, and that benignant sage, who all things knew, said to encourage me, let not thy fear harm thee, for any power that he may have shall not prevent thy going down this crag. He then turned around unto the bloated lip and said, be silent, thou accused wolf. Consume within thyself with thy own rage. Not causeless is this journey to the abyss. Thus it willed on high, where Michael wrought vengeance upon the proud adultery, even as the sails inflated by the wind, together fall involved with snaps the mast. So fell the cruel monster to the earth. Thus we descended into the fourth chasm, gaining still farther on the dulsome shore, which all the woe of the universe ensacks. Justice of God, who heaps up so many new toils and sufferings as I beheld. And why doth our transgression waste us so, as doth the billow thereupon Charybdis that breaks itself on that which it encounters? So here the folks must dance their roundelay. Here saw I people more than elsewhere, many, on one side and the other, with great howls, rolling weights forward by main force of chest. They clash together, and then at the point, each one turned backward, rolling retrograde, crying, why keepest and why squanderedest thou? Thus they returned along the lurid circle, on either hand onto the opposite point, shouting their shameful misery evermore. Then each, when he arrived there, wheeled about through his half circle to another joust. And I, who had my heart pierced as it were, exclaimed, my master now declare to me what people these are, and if all were clerks. These shaven crowns upon the left of us, and he to me, all of them were a squint. In intellect in the first life, so much that there were measure, they no spending made. Clearly enough their voices bark in forth, whenever they reach the 2 points of the circle, where sunders them the opposite defect. Clerks those were who no hairy covering have on the head, popes and cardinals, in whom doth avarice practice its excess. And I, my master, among such as these, I ought forsooth to recognize some few, who were infected with these maladies. And he to me, vain thought thou entertainest, the discerning life which made them sordid, now makes them unto all discernment dim. Forever shall they come to these two buddings. These from the specular shall rise again, with the fist closed, and these with tresses shown, all giving, ill keeping the fair world, have ran from them, and placed them in this scuffle. Whatever it be, no words adorn I for it. Now canst thou, son, behold the transient farce of goods that are committed unto fortune, for which the human race each other buffet, for all the gold that is beneath the moon, or ever has been, of these weary souls, can never make a single one repose. Master, I said to him, now tell me also, what is this fortune which thou speak of, that has the world's goods so within its clutches? And he said to me, O creatures, imbecile, what ignorance is this which doth beset you? Now will I have thee learn my judgment of her, he whose omniscience everything transcends, the heavens created and gave, who should guide them, that ever part to every part of my shine, distributing the light in equal measure. He in like manner to the mundane splendors ordained a general mistress and guide, that she might change at times the empty treasures from race to race, from one blood to another, beyond resistance of all human wisdom. Therefore one people triumphs and another languishes, in perchance of her judgment. which hidden is as in the grass of a serpent. Your knowledge has no counterstand against her. She makes provision, judge, and pursues her governance, as there the other gods. Her permutations have not any truce. Necessity makes her precipitate. So often cometh who has turn obtains, and this is she who is so crucified, even by those who ought to give her praise, giving her blame amiss and bad repute. But she is blissful, and she hears not, among other primal creatures gladsome. She turns her sphere, and blissful, she rejoices. Let us descend now unto greater woe. Already sinks each star that was ascending. When I set out, loitering is forbidden. We cross the circle to another bank, near to a fount that broils and pours itself along a gully that runs out of it. The water was more somber far than purse, and we, in company with the dusky waves, made entrance downward by a path uncouth. A marsh it makes, which has the name of Styx. Thus Tristful, brooklet, which has descended down to the foot of the malign gray shores. And I, who stood intent upon beholding, saw people mud besprent in the lagoon, all of them naked with angry look. They smote each other not along with hands, but with the head and with their breasts and feet, tearing each other piecemeal with their teeth. Said the good master, Son, thou now beholdest the souls of those whom anger overcame. And likewise I would have them known for certain beneath the water people who sigh and make this water bubble at the surface, as the eye tells thee wherever so it turns. Fixed in the mirror, they say, we sullen were in the sweet air, which by the sun is gladdened, bearing within ourselves the sluggish wreck. Now we are sullen in the sable mirror. This hymn do they speak gurgling in their throats, for with unbroken words they cannot say it. Thus we went circling around the filthy fen, a great arb twixt the dry bank and the swamp, with eyes turned unto those who gorged the mere, unto the foot of a tower became at last. Canto 8. And this will be the last one for this read. I say, continuing, that long before we to the foot of that high tower had come, our eyes went upward to the summit of it. By reason of two flamlets we saw placed there, and from afar another answered them, so far that hardly could the eye attain it, and to the sea of all discernment turned. I said, what saith this? And what respondeth? That another fire? And who are they that made it? And he to me, across the turbid waves, what is expected thou canst not now discern. If reek of the morass concealed it not, cord never shot an arrow from itself, that sped away athwart the air so swift, as I beheld a very little boat come over the water towards us at the moment, under the guidance of a single pilot, who shouted, now art thou arrived, thou soul. Pelagius, thou criedest out in vain. For this once, said my lord, thou shalt not have us longer than in the passing of the slow, as he who listens to some great deceit that has been done to him, and then resents it. Such became Pelagius in his gathered wrath. My guide descended down into the boat, and then he made me enter after him, and only when I entered seemed it laden. soon as the guide and I were in the boat. Sorry, guys, about getting notifications because the shit doesn't turn off. The antique prow goes on its way, dividing more of the water than would with others. While we were running through the dead canal, up rose in front of me from one full of mere, and said, "Who art thou that comest ere the hour?" And I to him, "Although I come, I stay not. But who art thou that hast become so squalid?" "Thou seest that I am one who weeps," he answered. And I to him, with weeping and with wailing, "Thou spirit melodic, do thou remain. For thee I know thou art defiled." Then stretched he both his hands unto the boat, whereat my wary master thrust him back, saying, "Away there with the other dogs." Thereafter with his arms he clasped my neck. He kissed my face and said, "Disdainful soul, blessed be she who bore thee in her bosom. That was an arrogant person in the world. Goodness is none that decks his memory. So likewise here his shade is furious. How many are esteemed great kings up there? Who here shall be like unto swine and mere, leaving behind them horrible dispraises? And I, my master, much should I be pleased if I could see him spouse into his broth before we issue forth out of the lake. And here to me, unto thee the shore, reveal itself, thou shalt be satisfied. Such a desire 'tis meet thou shouldest enjoy. A little after that I saw such havoc made of him by the people of Mere, that still I praise and thank my God for it. They all were shouting at Filippo Argenti, and that exasperate spirit Florentine turned round upon himself with his own teeth. He left him there, and more of him I tell not. But on my ears, there smote a lamentation, whence forward I intent unbar my eyes. And the good master said, "Even now, my son, the city draweth near, whose name is Dis, with the grave citizens, with the great throng, and I, its mosaics already, master, clearly. Within there in the valley I discern, vermilion, as if issuing from the fire. They were, and he to me, the fire eternal, that kindles them within, makes them look red, as thou beholdest in this neither hell." Then we arrived within the moats profound, that circumvallate that desolate city. The walls appear to me to be of iron, not without making first a circuit wide. We came unto a place where loud the pilot cried out to us, "Debark, here is the entrance." More than 1,000 at the gate I saw. Out of the heavens rained down, who angrily were saying, "Who is that without death goes through the kingdom of the people dead?" My sagacious master made a sign of wishing secretly to speak with them. A little then they quarreled, the great disdain, and said, "Come thou alone, he be gone, who has so boldly entered these dominions. Let him return alone by his mad road. Try, if he can, for thou shalt here remain. Who has escorted him through such dark regions? Think, reader, if I was discomforted at utterance of the accused words, for never to return here I believed. O my dear guide, who more than 7 times hast rendered my security and drawn me from imminent peril that before me stood. Do not desert me, said I, thus undone. And if the going further be denied us, let us retrace our steps together swiftly. And that Lord who had led me their word said unto me, Fear not, because our passage none can take from us. It by such is given. But here await me in thy weary spirit, comfort and nourish with a great hope. For in this neither world I will not leave thee. So onward goes, and there abandons me. My Father sweet, and I remain in doubt. For no or yes within my head contend. I could not hear what he proposed to them. But with them there he did not linger long. Each within in rivalry ran back. They closed the portals, those are adversaries. On my Lord's breast, who had remained without, and turned to me with footsteps far between. His eyes cast down, his forehead shone had, he of all its boldness, and said with sighs, Who has denied to me the dolesome houses, and unto me thou, because I am angry? Fear not, for I will conquer in the trial, whatever for a defense within be planned. This arrogance of theirs is nothing new. For once they used it at last secret gate, which finds itself without a fastening still. Over didst thou behold the dead inscription, and now the side of it descends the steep, passing across the circles without escort, one by whose means the city shall be open. Next time I'm going to read Canto 9. I hope you enjoyed The Inferno by Dante Alighieri. I find it quite interesting. The layers. Where do you see yourself? Where do we see the world? What layer do you think we're in? Sending each and every one of you love and light. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.